Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're gonna look at the alternator on the F350. I'm gonna test it out, see how it's doing, how it's performing. I noticed that I got some dash lights that are starting to flicker. The battery light was flickering on the dash, and I do have two new batteries on the truck, so I'm sure it's not the batteries. And I'm pretty sure it's probably the alternator going out. I'm not sure if it's still original one from the factory, but what I actually want to do is I want to test it and see what the volts are on the batteries before I start the vehicle, then what the volts are after I start the vehicle, and then I'm going to turn all the headlights on, radio, AC, all that stuff, and then see how much it drops down. Because I noticed that it's actually starting to flicker when I accelerate a little more, but when I'm actually cruising or idling, the battery light is not flashing. So I'm almost 95% sure that it's the alternator. So let's see what's going on, and then we'll do the testing, and then we're gonna put in the new alternator that I got from Bosch, but it's actually made for the 6.0 engine Powerstrokes, so it might need to be modified just a little bit, but it's going to produce 135 amps instead of 110, which is what the stock one is doing on the 7.3s. And then after the new alternator is installed, I'm going to do the test again and see if the numbers change or if they stay the same. Alrighty, let's go. Alright, so let's see what the battery is without the engine being on. Okay, so we are at 12.7. Now I'm gonna start the engine, see what numbers it jumps up to. I think we should see around 14, 14-ish, low 14s. Let's see what we get. So yeah, that's pretty bad. Looks like the alternator's not even really charging the batteries. Let's check this other side right here. Well, this one's getting charged. 14.1. So this side is good. Maybe I got a bad connection. Let's try this one again. Okay, never mind. Yeah, so I guess I kind of didn't have a good connection with the prongs. So yeah, we got 14.2, so that's good. All right, so I got my headlights on, fog lights on, AC on, and the radio. Let's see what we get. So we got 13.7, which is 13.8. Not too bad. Alright, so yeah, so the second test with the headlights on or everything on, it dropped down to about 13.7, and that was pretty good. You don't want to see anything lower than 13, so it's able to keep up with the lights and everything else on, so that's pretty good. Alright, now let's go ahead and remove this guy and then compare it to the Bosch that's made for the 6.0 Powerstrokes, and then we'll see what we need to modify in order to make that one fit in here. This one's a 110 amps and the Bosch one is 135, but yeah, let's take this one off. It should be pretty simple. 5 minutes, I'll have it off and we'll look at both of them together. All right, let's go. All right, now here are the two generators next to each other. You can kind of tell that this one, the Bosch, it's a little bigger. Maybe 1/4 of an inch bigger or so. Maybe almost half an inch bigger, actually. So it's a beefier generator, and that's why it's gonna produce a little bit more amps out of this one. The connections are the same, this one and that one. This one's a little bit different, but it's okay. It'll just be mounted this way instead of that way. The mounting holes are the same, this side and that side. I can tell that the pulley is a tiny bit bigger, but it's not a big deal because there's a tensioner pulley, so that's gonna adjust for that. So that's not a big deal. All right, now this is the part that's gonna be a little bit interesting because I haven't really put this on the truck yet to see how much of this is gonna be hitting, but this is the part that is the problem. Well, it's not a problem really, but you got about ½ inch there. So I'm gonna put the stock one back on and see how much space there is between this area and the bracket on the truck, and then we'll go from there, and then we'll see if I'm gonna have to grind off the bracket or what my other options are. So we got about ½ inch there. And now we have the pulley. The pulley is 2 inches and about 7/8, 2 7/8, so almost 3 inches, 2 7/8. And this pulley is 2 3/4, so we're looking only just like barely 1/8 or so. So it's not that big of a difference. I mean, what you can do is actually swap the pulleys from your stock one to this one, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. So you're not gonna need a bigger belt because the pulley tensioner will pretty much give you a little more slack to put it on here, and that's gonna be fine. But now let's go ahead and see how much space the stock one has in this spot right here. All right, so looking on the back here, let me see if I can show you. There's the spot right here. So it's about yeah, there's about 1/4 inch space. So now let me put the Bosch one on and see what we get. All right, now here we got the Bosch one on. And you can tell right there, it's hitting the bracket, and this is the space right here. So yeah, if I can shave off just a little bit, it'll sit in there pretty nicely. So looking from here, we just need about 1/4 inch off, and we should be good to go. Some guys I heard they put washers underneath the mounting bolts, but then I think it's going to be a little bit too tight on the belt because this pulley is already a tiny bit bigger. And if this is gonna sit a little bit higher, then you might need to get a new belt. I don't know. But yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and shave off the backside. I'm gonna mark it with a marker where it's touching, and just use a little bit of grinding bit and shave that off. All right, let's get that done and get this installed. All right, and there we have it, guys. It's now finished. So it took about, I want to say, maybe a little more than 1/4 on the back, and then the front needed to get some off as well. And the back side is rounded, this part right here, and the front side is more of a square. So keep that in mind if you're doing this mod. I didn't pay attention to this, and then I pretty much just made a groove to fit this one, but didn't realize that it was actually a square. So I was kind of struggling a little bit, wondering why it does not fit. So let me put this on real quick and show you the gap on the bottom. All right, here's the gap on the bottom. I think it's touching a tiny bit, but it's now sitting nice and flush. There's no wobble, there's no all sides are touching on all sides. So when I'm gonna tighten it down, it's gonna sit nice and tight. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall this and put the belt on. And actually looking at this guy, it seems like to be like it's a little bit corroded. So I'm wondering if this was part of the issue. It could very well be my problem, and maybe it wasn't even in the alternator. So I think it's good now. I'm gonna get some battery corrosion paste later. I'm gonna put this on here. And I actually kind of like it that the cable is sitting this way instead of pointing up like on a stock one. So it kind of keeps it more of a natural bend instead of like up and then curving down. So I think it's actually better this way. So we're gonna tighten it right here. So yeah, that's good, that's good. This is connected, all good. Now I'm gonna reconnect the batteries. And we're gonna start it up and see what we get. But yeah, that could have been my problem because it had some corrosion underneath. But oh well, I'll keep the alternator as a spare because I'm pretty sure this was probably the problem. And yeah, I'm gonna have 135 amps. It's gonna be a new one. And so yeah, this is now another less problem to worry about in the future. Another new part underneath the hood. Looks cleaner, a little bronzy. Kind of matches the turbo a little bit, matches the wrap. Look at the new FRX system. So yeah, she's looking pretty good. So now let's go ahead and start it up and see what we get on the battery when the engine's started, and then see what volts we get when I turn on the headlights, AC, radio, all that stuff. So we got 14.2122 23. That's pretty much exactly what I was getting with my stock one. Alright, so now we got headlights, fog lights, radio, and AC on full blast. Let's see what we get. And we got 14.2627. It's even higher than without all the stuff on. So that's kind of interesting. 14.2. That's crazy because the stock one was getting 13.7, I believe. That is weird. So it looks like it's not really putting any strain on the alternator at all. Alright, so I turned everything up again. Let's see what we get. So it's actually lower with all that stuff off, but it's higher with the stuff on. That's pretty weird. Alright, well that's something new. It's funny, when I turn the headlights on, fog lights, radio, AC, full blast, the battery volts actually goes up to what, 14 something, 14 point, what did I say, 14.26, 27, maybe even higher than that. And with everything off, it's at 14.21, 14.22, around there. So that's interesting. That's a good thing, right? Because that way it's not really draining the battery if you have more stuff turned on. So that seems to be a good upgrade already. So that's another mod for the 7.3, another upgrade, another thing that makes it better. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. If you're new, please subscribe, and I got some more stuff coming up. Alrighty, see ya.